So Chodesh Elul, Tafshin Ayin Gimel, the 30th of Menachem Av. We are in Teres Menachem, Sefer HaMamorim Tafshin Yud Aleph Tafshin Yud Beis, in the Mamar of Simchas Torah Tafshin Yud Beis. We are on page Kuf Nun Aleph. Six lines from the top. We are discussing here the idea of Simchas Torah in the context of Yidden bringing joy into Torah, meaning to say that Yidden add something to the Torah that the Torah otherwise doesn't have. The Rebbe began to explain this by focusing on the pasuk in Yeshaya. Everything that is called by my name and for my honor, I have created it, I have formed it, and even made it. And the Rebbe explained that Kvedi, my honor, in this pasuk is a reference to Torah. Shmi, my name, is a reference to Hashem's name Yud Kei Vav Kei, as it represents the four worlds and the 10 spheres. And in fact, at every level, even at the very highest level, the first emanation of Eir, and that which is called by my name is a reference to Neshamas Yisrael, the souls of the Jewish people. And the Rebbe explained that a name is something which is outside of that which is called by the name. So, if Hashem's name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, it means Hashem's name is anything that is not His essence. So the first point of Ein Sof, God's infinite light, is already within the bracket of a name. Neshamas Yisrael are Nikroim B'Shmi. Neshamas Yisrael draw down Shmi. That's how the Rebbe interprets it here. They draw down Shem Havaya, which means to say that they are higher than Shem Havaya. They are rooted within the essence of within Hashem, deeper and at a higher level than even Shem Havaya, even Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. And the Rebbe qualified this by bringing a proof from the saying in the Medrash that says that when Hashem created the world, He consulted the neshamas, the souls of tzaddikim, whether or not He should consult the world. And the Rebbe explains that consultation means, or consultation is relevant, is appropriate, so far as revelation is concerned. So far as Hashem's essence is concerned, there's no consultation. Hashem exists. Whether or not there should be any revelation, any gili oir, that's where consultation starts making a bit of sense, right? Which means to say that since it's something voluntary, since it is something which Hashem could decide whether He wants that oir to be revealed or not, so He consulted with the neshamas whether or not He should reveal that oir. And that is true even at the highest level of revelation. So the first point of revelation, first point of emanation of Ein Sof, already they are Neshamas Yisrael. That's the implication of this Medrash. They are already Neshamas Yisrael, souls of the Jews, with whom Hashem consults, so to speak, whether or not this revelation should be implemented, whether there should be revelation or not. Now the Rebbe goes in and elaborates a bit further. This gets a bit technical. So before we go inside, I'm going to try to first elaborate Baal Peh, orally, and then let's see how the Rebbe articulates it in the Maimon. Here we are focusing on Ein Sof, God's infinite light, before the Tzimtzum, before the first contraction. You're familiar with the term, right? Tzimtzum. Tzimtzum was a contraction of God's infinite light, which Hashem put into place for the purpose of creating the worlds. Tzimtzum Rishon. We're talking about the Tzimtzum Rishon, the first contraction. There are contractions all the way through the chain order of creation, but we're talking now about the first contraction at the first point, and that is in Ein Sof, in God's infinite light. So there is God's infinite light, if you will, an emanation of Hashem before the Tzimtzum, which is the catch-all phrase for that is Ein Sof, God's infinite light. However, in God's infinite light before the Tzimtzum, there are different strands. there is this infinite light of Hashem as it is included within Hashem, the first point where Hashem says, okay, let's cause the world to be created, and therefore I choose the system of Eir and Ein Sof and Tzimtzum and so on and so forth for the creation of the world. That is still within Hashem's very essence, but still a notional, if you will, aspect of Eir, of light, much like the sun. If the rays of the sun exist outside of the sun, it must exist within the sun. Just when it's within the sun, it's undiscernible from the sun itself. Indiscernible from the sun itself. If we're talking about corrections, I mentioned 2 shiurim ago about the tetragrammaton, and I erroneously translated it as having to do with the fact that Yud Kei Vav Kei is gematria, the numerical value of 26. In fact, Kevin pointed out that tetragrammaton is related to the fact that it's 4. I think it's the Greek for a 4-letter name or a 4-letter word, as it were. A name or a word made up of 4 letters. Yud Kei Vav Kei. So, good morning, Eddie. So, going back, so you have Eir HaKol B'Atzmusai, God's infinite light, as it is included within and bound up within Hashem Himself, and indiscernible from Hashem. Then you have the revelation of that Eir. This is all before the Tzimtzum. Right? So now it comes into the next level where it now becomes a discernible Eir. Discernible as Eir. As God's still infinite in Himself, but Eir. Discernible. In that discernible Eir, divine light, you have the Gili Ha'er Hashayach La'atzmei, the revelation of this light, of this energy, as it is related to Hashem. And then you have the aspect of the Eir as it is related to the other, to the Zulas, to the next. Let's start from a lower level. Take Kesed, for example. The crown that exists in the template of Seder Shtalshalus, of the chain order of creation throughout, in Atzilus and Bri and so on and so forth. It has Primis HaKesed and Chesenis HaKesed. There is what's known as Atik Yomin, which is the Primis HaKesed, the inner dimension of the crown. And then you have Arich Anpin, which is the external dimension of the crown. What's another way of saying the inner dimension and the outer dimension? In this chain order of creation, there is the aspect in each level, the aspect of the level as it relates to the higher level, and the aspect in that level that relates to the lower level. That's how the process works. And that's how each level becomes a link in the chain that connects the higher level to the one that follows it, to the one that precedes it, to the one that follows it. Where does it all begin? So to in Chochmah, so to in Bina, and so on and so forth. And this is what we learned also in the previous Mamar, that throughout creation, physical creation, spiritual creation, etc., you will find Pnimius and Chetzenius, an inner dimension and an external dimension. Where does that start from? It goes back all the way to Ein Sof Shalifnei HaTzimtzum, to God's infinite light before the Tzimtzum, where when the Eir, when this divine light becomes discernible, it has an element in it that is related to the Eir HaKol B'Atzmusai, God's infinite light as it is included within Himself and indiscernible. And then there's the aspect of that Eir as it is related to the next level, to the other, ultimately creation and creatures, which would be Gili Ha'er Hashayach Lazulas, as the revelation of the light, as is related to the other. Clear? Now, I'm not quite sure about what I'm going to say now, but I think this is it, because this is a very, very deep and fine concept. We're talking about extremely high levels, and it's got to be very careful what I say. I believe that usually in Chassidus, when we talk about Tzimtzum, where did Tzimtzum take place? In which aspect of Eir Ein Sof did this first contraction take place? I believe it is the case, and I'm saying that with limited liability, as they say, that the Tzimtzum took place in the Gili Ha'er Hashayach La'azulas, in the revelation of God's infinite light as it relates to the other. Right? Because it follows. This is the revelation of light, the other, and that's what Hashem, that's where the Tzimtzum took place. Here the Rebbe is saying that Tzimtzum has some kind of a relationship even to God's infinite light as it is included within Himself. That's what the Rebbe is saying here. Why? Why? And the Rebbe qualifies it. The Rebbe says like this. Going back to this idea of Bibin Nimlach, whom did Hashem consult with? Hashem consulted with the Neshamas for what? Whether there should be revelation. Whether there should be Oir. It follows, therefore, Oir HaKol Batz Musa, God's infinite, when Hashem decided, okay, I'm using, simplistic terms, but let's use it in these terms. It makes it easier to focus on the idea. When Hashem decided, let there be Oir, I decided I want there to be Oir. Revelation. That brought into effect, first of all, the Oir HaKol Batz Musa, His infinite light as it is included within Himself. So therefore it follows that the consultation was even for what? For that aspect of God's infinite light as it is included within Himself. Which then gave way for the Gili Ha'ir, outside of His essence, so to speak, and the two strands of the Gili Ha'ir as it relates to Him and as it relates to the other. So therefore, when we say there was Tzimtzum, that Hashem removed His infinite light. So okay, we say that's mainly concerning what? God's infinite light as it relates to the other, right? Shaykh Lazulas. However, the Rebbe says like this, and he quotes from the Alter Rebbe from Torah Eir. The Alter Rebbe in Torah Eir says, Hashem's very essence is not contractible or retractable, and is not confinable. Hashem's very essence is always revealed. But again, the term he uses is his galus. This is a very important point. Often in Chassidus, there's a discussion difference between Gilui and his galus. Gilui means, I think the best way I can translate it, Gilui means revealed. His galus means present, if you will. It doesn't mean necessarily that it's visible or detectable. When the essence is revealed, it's not that you see, wow, this is Hashem's essence. For example, when a person says, Baruch Hashem, how are you? Baruch Hashem. That is because the very essence of Hashem is present. That's the soul responding to its connection to the very essence of Hashem. Okay? So Hashem's very essence, when we say Hashem is everywhere, notwithstanding the fact. So in other words, let's put it this way. What is the difference between the presence of the essence of Hashem in our physical world and the presence of the very essence of Hashem in Atzilus? Or what is the difference between the presence of the very essence of Hashem in our physical world or the presence of the very essence of Hashem before Gili Oir? You know what the answer is? Nothing, no difference. Identical. The difference will be in terms of if there is an entity that has a consciousness at a high level, it'll detect it more, and we, because our consciousness is more covered and concealed than we're physical beings, it'll be less detectable to us. But it's not because Hashem's presence isn't there. Whereas when we talk about Gilui, when we talk about Oir, about Hashem's divine light, there is a difference between the way it is at a higher level and the if you will, the quantity of the revelation, and at a lower level, the quantity of the revelation is less. Are you with me? So that's the difference between his galus and Gili. His galus is a term that's related to the essence of Hashem. And that is present everywhere in the highest realms and in the lowest realms equally. The difference in how much the beings of those realms detect Hashem's presence is to do with the refinement, if you will, of the receptacles of those beings, the consciousness of those beings that exist in those realms. Whereas when we talk about Oir, it's not only to do with the differences in the ability for those creatures and those beings in those various realms to detect because of how fine their receptacles are. It also has got to do with the amount, if you will, of revelation that there is in each given realm. In the higher realm, there's more revelation. In the lower realm, there's less revelation. That's as far as Oir is concerned. So therefore, the Rebbe says like this. When we talk about Tzimtzum, so long as we're talking about Oir, about a revelation, an emanation, Tzimtzum is relevant there as well. He doesn't go into this whole discussion where actual Tzimtzum takes place. But the fact that, what does Tzimtzum mean? Tzimtzum means things retract back to their original source. They go back. They're removed from this place, as it were. So Hashem says, so Hashem, when he caused this Tzimtzum, this is related to every aspect of Oir. Since, in other words, since the Eira Kol Batzmusay, God's infinite light, as is included within Himself, leads to the revelation of the Eir, the Gili Eir, and the Gili Eir as it relates to Himself, and ultimately to the Gili Eir, to the revelation of light as it relates to the other. So since the Eira Kol Batzmusay is the beginning of that process, therefore Tzimtzum also has some kind of a relevance, even in the highest level of Eir, of light, meaning even in the level of Eir as it is included within Himself, within Hashem Himself. Now let's see how the Rebbe says it inside. 6 lines from the top page, Kuf Nun Aleph. What's this idea over here? The Rebbe is explaining the idea that the neshama of a Jew is rooted higher than Shem Havaya, Hashem's name Havaya, at the highest level, which is even what? Eira Kol Batzmusay. Any point of revelation, even the first point of revelation, is already Shem, is already the name. And the neshama of a Jew is beyond that. So the Rebbe explains. The Kol Inyan Shel Eir, any idea of light, of emanation, Gam Bechinas Eira Kol Batzmusay, even the level of the divine light, as it is included within the very essence of Hashem, since it is not the very essence of Hashem, the actual very essence of Hashem, it's what? It's already an emanation of sort, even though it's within Him, Shayich Boy Inyan Tzimtzum, the idea of Tzimtzum has some kind of a relationship there. As is proven clearly from what is also written in Torah by the Alter Rebbe, quote, that in the luminary, which is the Ein Sof, the infinite Himself, not the infinite light, but the infinite, which is who? Hashem, His essence. In Hashem's very essence, Tzimtzum doesn't come in there at all. It has no relevance there whatsoever. And it can't be concealed either. Can't be hidden. Not concealed, it can't be hidden. The Adrab, on the contrary, Hamoir Hu B'His Galus, the luminary is always present. Revealed in a revealed presence. And as I explained, that the difference between Hashem's presence, the presence of Hashem's very essence, at the highest, in the highest realms, and Hashem's presence, very essence, the presence of Hashem's very essence in the lowest realms is identical. Therefore, from this we're compelled to say, that in any level of light, in any level of emanation, even in the level of light at the very high of emanation, at the very highest level, the idea of Tzimtzum has some kind of a relevance. And now let's go to the next step. So if we say that there is some relevance, there is some connection between Tzimtzum and Eir, even at the highest level, if that's the case, it follows therefore that it is a source for worlds, because the whole point of Tzimtzum is for what? The whole point of the creation is for of the contraction is for what? For the creation of the worlds. So therefore, once we talk about a level where Tzimtzum has some relevance, it means that ultimately it is a source for worlds. And therefore, if it's a source for worlds, for creation, so it has some kind of an idea of change connected to it. And it has an idea. It has the idea of an inner dimension and an external dimension. However, the souls of Yidden are rooted in the very essence of Hashem. Therefore, any aspect of light, any aspect of revelation, is merely like a name relative to them. And how is this even the highest level of Shem, the highest level of emanation? How is that drawn down? Al Yodam, through the souls of Jews. Because with them Hashem consulted whether or not there should be any revelation of divine light, including the highest and first point of revelation. Meaning also, God's infinite light as it is included within Himself.